Founded in 1729, Arlington Street continues today as a gathering place for progressive people of faith in the greater Boston area and beyond. We are located at the corner of Arlington and Boylston Streets, across from the Public Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. Arlington Street Church, gathered in love and service for justice and peace.
This afternoon, crowds are going to gather just up Boylston Street at Old South Church and sing and pray their way to the State House, along with similar crowds in cities all around the world. They are celebrating the power of the sun and the wind to offer us solutions to our energy needs that can sustain us and our planet. And we know that their message could not be more timely or urgent. We know, too, that for too long, we humans weren't paying attention to our sources of energy beyond what they offered us in the moment. Warmth from the wood fire, then the coal fire, power of the rushing water to move a mill, the energy of animals to plow our soil. We've kept looking for ways to power innovations that make our lives easier, often better, and in the process, we've moved ourselves further and further from the truth of our belonging to the web of complex life and the planet itself. So as the distressing fire hose of news of both human and natural disasters threatens to drench us with despair these days, thinking about renewable energy set me on a quest to name some of the sources of power that can help us navigate these times. How can we lift up and return to our renewable sources of power, of strength, of solace, meaning, connection, hope, courage? Even a wounded world is feeding us, writes Robin Wall Kimmerer. Even a wounded world holds us, giving us moments of wonder and joy. I choose joy over despair. Not because I have my head in the sand, but because joy is what the earth gives me daily, and I must return the gift. Wall Kimmerer is one of many sources of everyday wisdom from indigenous peoples around the world. The stories and conviction of ancient cultures and their relationship with the natural world are themselves a profound source of our power. Earlier this week, I was on a study retreat immersed in the landscape of Western Ireland and the wisdom of poets, philosophers, musicians, and farmers there. This is one of the tales I heard, which is told in many variations depending on where in Ireland you are. There was once a magical cow called Glas Gobniak, who belonged to the local smith, the first smith to make edged weapons in Ireland, and also a smith about whom many other tales are told. This cow lived on the slopes of Slieva na Glasha and amazed everyone with the abundance of her milk. Any vessel that was brought to her would be filled in what seemed to be an unending supply. With continual amazement, neighbors bet on whether it was possible to deplete that supply of milk, until one crafty person arrived with a sieve and held it under Glasgowniak's udder. The milk, of course, ran through the holes in the sieve, forming rivulets down the side of the mountain. After quite some time, the cow began to weaken. Her milk supply slowed and then stopped, and she died. On the hills where she lived, there now run 7 streams where that milk went through the sieve. The bounty of nature is vast until we try to manipulate it, destroying both the gift and its giver. Caring for the sources of our nourishment. This tale tells us, and we learned over and over again, but don't quite absorb, caring for the sources of our nourishment is as important as the fount of nourishment itself. We've gotten this lesson in so many ways, have gone astray with greed and overreaching so many times. Folklore from every culture tells us we are not the only ones to face this predicament. And yet, the milk no longer runs, the cow has died, and the streams, in their mercy, offer water to the limestone hills to this day. They allow for the sustenance of the vegetation and the animals that graze there. There is hope for redemption, even when we've messed things up royally. Nature finds a way, even when we've thought we found ways to outsmart it. Another source of our power is remembering our connection, understanding our relationship with the land and with one another, not just fellow humans, but all life forms on this planet. Honoring that connection gives us strength. The source of the 7 streams left by Glasgow-Nyacht's milk is high on the hill above the land that poet Patrick McCormick farms in the Burren. Pried away from his farm for a few days to be with our retreat group, Patrick was well aware of the duties that were waiting for him as soon as he returned to the Burren. Unlike most of the rest of the world, which brings the animals into barns and closed fields in the winter, farmers in the Burren send their animals out to the hills. For thousands of years, this practice of winterage has been going on. Because their hills are short on water in the summer, but the limestone offers warmth in winter and varieties of grazing plants that are deeply nourishing to the livestock. This balances out the vegetation on the hills through the year and gives a full cycle of ecological bliss for their fauna. Farmers send those cattle and sheep up the limestone uplands, but go with them to get them settled in, staying and camping out on the hills for anywhere from a few days to a few weeks to make sure that the animals are acclimated and they know their grazing places. Patrick explained, sometimes a cow will slip and break its ankle on a rock, and they need us there to help them heal and make sure they'll survive the winter. Concierge service for the animals into the hills. The lessons of the magic cow have been taken to heart, it seems. These are now the old ways of farming. Robin Wall Kimmerer again. Knowing that you love the earth changes you, activates you to defend and protect and celebrate. But when you feel that the earth loves you in return, that feeling transforms the relationship from a one-way street into a sacred bond. The farmers and their animals, the animals and the land and the farmers, all a sacred bond. Now, not all of us, in fact, very few of us, can live an ancient and bucolic lifestyle that keeps us in close touch with the earth, our animal kin, the sun and clouds and sea, like this impressive Irish farmer. And yet, wherever we are, we do have the opportunity to connect with the very present and immediate ways that we are fed by the natural world. Noticing the colors of a sunrise or a sunset, the rise of the moon and the tides, noticing the change in the scent of the wind as we move from summer into autumn, and of course, the glory of the changing leaves. Those seasons and cycles sustain us through the ups and downs of our lives, and in fact have sustained the planet and its full range of inhabitants for millennia. None of us hung the moon or set the whirling mass of the sun in motion, and still, we are held and awed by both. Robin Wall Kimmerer again. We Americans are reluctant to learn a foreign language of our own species, let alone another species. But imagine the possibilities. Imagine the access we would have to different perspectives, the things we might see through other eyes, the wisdom that surrounds us. We don't have to figure out everything by ourselves. There are intelligences other than our own, teachers all around us. Imagine how much less lonely the world would be. The power of taking time to connect and to attend gives us a well of gratitude that is itself a gift and a teacher. The good news is that there are people who are already practicing that sense of connection and the action that comes from it. Many of them right here in this sanctuary. Our climate action team has been reaching out and reaching in to help organize today's climate rally, Sunway pilgrimage, forgive me. Our community minister for climate justice, Fred Small, is speaking and showing up for climate causes as his full-time work. Folks are making a habit of picking up litter in parks and woods as they go on their daily errands, and each action, large and small, that connects us, that invites further noticing, that creates an opening and an insight, matters. In the midst of all the din of the noise of how terrible the world is, it's important that we know also that there's a wide and intentionally quiet network of folks who are currently housing asylum seekers, mostly from Haiti in the Boston area. After years of earthquakes and hurricanes and destroyed infrastructure, immigrants from Haiti to all parts of the world are part of the growing number of climate refugees. Climate change is, in fact, one of the biggest drivers of global migration in our time. And as those migrants seek jobs and homes here, supporting them is part of responding to a climate crisis on a very personal level. It's all part of the same work, to relate with our planet and all peoples with care and mutual aid. These and countless other actions are happening even under the surface of what seems to be so dire. The undercurrents of kindness and generosity among us may seem like drops in the bucket, but drops, my friends, are how the bucket is filled. When the drops can see and appreciate one another's work, they form a stream, and the stream can form a river, and somewhere along the way, the whole tide changes. Opening ourselves to the wonder at the beauty, the tenacity, the generosity, and cooperation of our animal and plant kin. At the dance of the wind and the rain and the sun, we create a deep well of strength as we face these big questions of our time. Feeling ourselves part of a larger whole, surrounded by the silent companions and teachers of the natural world, we can rest in certainty that the ancient fables are true. The more we try to game it, to bend it to our will and make it answer our fears and anxieties, the further we'll be from realizing the fullness and beauty that creation can hold. The taproot of our greatest powers, hope and courage and love, live not in our striving to figure it out or to know the answers, but in the simple components of attention, listening inwardly and outwardly to ourselves, to one another, to our surroundings. May we tend to our connection so that we know in our bones when and how we need to act on behalf of the place and the beings we call home. And as we continue to navigate the actions we will take to shift our systems to support renewable energy and support the health of the environment, let's root ourselves in the splendor, the joys, the beauty of the gifts we have in nature as the greatest source of strength to face these troubling times. May we give thanks, may we notice, may we celebrate and be filled with compassion to carry on together. Amen. May we find the sources of power, of strength in being together, in being in this world with all of its beauty and splendor and possibility. Love is the spirit of this congregation. May love hold us all until we meet again. Let us keep this faith, beloveds, and pass it on. The service begins when the service ends. Amen.
Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. For your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. Your divine, my divine.
We are located at the corner of Arlington and Boylston Streets, across from the Public Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. Arlington Street Church, gathered in love and service for justice and peace.